Hello, and welcome to Health Hope. I'm Dr. Paul Yim, and I'll be your host and speaker today. I hope you've seen my other two presentations on health, God's Health Plan, and the second one is the Blue Zones, the longest living and healthiest people on the planet. Today's program is titled Total New Start, Total Body Health, and I promise it will be totally practical. Total New Start is what I call total holistic healing, true holistic healing. And this is because it's not just medication, surgery, acupuncture, yoga, etc. This is healing the spirit, mind, and body of each person. Now, what is New Start? New Start is an acronym for 8 laws of natural health. One is nutrition, second, exercise, then water, sunshine, temperance, fresh air, rest, and trust in God. Those added up spell New Start. Now, where did this acronym start from? Well, there was a book written on health titled The Ministry of Healing, written over 100 years ago. And on page 127, the quote runs like this: pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness, which is another word for temperance, rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, and trust in divine power. These are the true remedies. Every person should have a knowledge of nature's remedial agencies and how to apply them. Now, did you notice that? Does it say every doctor and scientist should have a knowledge of these remedies? No, friends, it says every person. These are basic things that everybody can learn and apply. So let's begin with N, nutrition. Nutrition, I've formatted it in a very simple who, what, when, where, how, so that it's almost foolproof, friends. Let's begin with who. Any healthy adult. If you have children, I recommend you seek the advice of a competent pediatrician to customize their diet. But for any healthy adult, the diet, what is it? It can be found in Genesis 1:29. Now, if you have seen my first program, which is God's Health Plan, you'll see what that diet constitutes. There's fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, and nuts. Now, you remember that they had the food pyramid, right? Prior to that was the 4 food groups. Well, now the food pyramid is gone, and it's the food plate, my plate. And as you can see on the slide, what they want you to do is basically have 4 food groups, which is fruits, vegetables, and grains, and then protein. And visually, Michelle Obama helped promote this, is they want you to have at least half of your plate constitute fruits or vegetables. Now understand, in general, in the morning, we eat fruit more easily. We generally don't eat vegetables in the morning. So, for example, you would have half of your breakfast would be taken up with fruits, and the other half would be either grains and protein, okay? So, and then lunch would be similar, except you would use vegetables. Half of your plate, at least, being vegetables, and then the other half being grains and protein. Now, when should you eat? 2 to 3 times per day. Ideally, if you could, 2 times a day would be great. If I was retired and I could eat, ideally, I would eat at around 9 in the morning and about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. But for most normal working people, 3 times a day would be just right, and we'll illustrate later in the Q&A session. Now, make sure you leave at least 5 hours in between meals. This is so that your stomach can digest the food that you've already given it the meal prior. If you add food to it in the form of a snack 2 to 3 hours later, now your stomach has to stop its current digestion and then have to start all over again with new food that has been introduced. This can cause indigestion and other stomach problems. Now, another thing to keep in mind is remember to eat at least 4 hours before bedtime. Try not to go to sleep on a full stomach, because if you do that, then what will happen is the stomach is trying to digest your food all night long. It doesn't have the benefit of you moving and walking and exercising in the course of a day. And worse yet, you're in the horizontal position usually, and the stomach acids are sloshing back and forth, and the only way it can go is up into the esophagus, causing acid reflux. Now, where should you eat? With family and with other people. We were made to be social creatures, and when we eat together, we bond together. It's been shown in studies that families who eat together, the kids are, pay attention, less likely to smoke, drink alcohol, do drugs, get depressed, develop eating disorders, or consider suicide. And they are more likely to do well in school, delay having sex, eat their vegetables, learn big words, and know which fork to use. Friends, I have a teenage child, and you better believe this is important to me, right? Now, where should you not eat? I'll tell you, do not eat while you're driving. Unless you checked on your car insurance application, the box that says, I do eat or drink while driving. But if you did not check that box, do not eat while driving. It is a distraction. Now, how should you eat? Slowly and not rushed. Chew thoroughly. Remember, digestion begins in the mouth. So the mouth does mechanical digestion, which means breaking down food mechanically. And then in the stomach is what is called chemical digestion. The chemical, which is acid, in the stomach breaks down the food further. And then in the small bowel after the stomach is what is called molecular digestion, where the small bowel is absorbing the molecules of fat, protein, and carbs and water. And then, of course, the large bowel, its purpose is water metabolism regulation, and then, of course, waste products. Now, the other key thing to keep in mind is how should you eat food? The more natural, the better. A good example of this is, for example, like a baked potato. A baked potato is in its most natural form besides eating it raw. So you would want to eat the whole skin. What would be more processed than that? Less natural? Well, perhaps the next step would be mashed potatoes, preferably with the skin on. More processed than that would be like potato chips. Finally, the worst would probably be French fries, heated in super hot oil, causing a lot of oxidation and introducing a lot of calories into what is otherwise a low-calorie food. So keep that concept in mind. Eat the more natural the food, the better it is for you. The next remedy is exercise. Who? Any healthy adult under 40 years old. If you're over 40 years old, please seek the advice of a doctor. It's now recommended that anyone 40 and over should have a medical evaluation before they begin an exercise program. What type of exercise? The most commonly thought of exercise is usually aerobic, like walking on a treadmill or jogging. And that is one, but many people neglect the second and the third. The second exercise form is strength training. We know this is like weightlifting, but it can involve many other simpler forms of strength training. And then there's stretching and flexibility. I would say that this is probably the most neglected form of exercise. When? Depending on your intensity of exercise, it determines how much time per week you need to devote to it. For example, a vigorous intensity exercise, and I'll define that a little bit later, you would want to aim for about 150 minutes per week. If you wanted to divide it over a 7-day week exercise program, then it would be about 20 minutes per day. A moderate intensity exercise, which again I'll define later, you would need to double that to 300 minutes per week, so about 40 minutes per day if you're doing a 7-day exercise routine. Where should you exercise? Outside is best, and you will learn later, but you can take advantage of two other natural remedies, which is fresh air and sunshine when you exercise outdoors. Now, this section, how to exercise, will take up more time. First of all, start low and go slow. One of the most common causes for giving up on an exercise program is you went in too gung-ho, too much, too quick, you got achy and said, oh, it doesn't work, I'm going to quit the whole thing. So start low and go slow. Listen to your body. Ramp it up every 2 to 3 days a little bit, and then you'll do very well. Another thing to keep in mind is do proper breathing, and we can go over that more in detail when we get to the air section. Aerobic, I would recommend low impact rather than high impact aerobic. We don't need to age our joints any faster than we already are, right? Vigorous intensity exercise, some examples of that are jogging, running, swimming laps, and playing tennis singles tennis. Examples of moderate intensity exercise are like brisk walking, biking, doubles tennis, and push mowing a lawn. Now for stretching, one good tip is come up with a routine that you do so that you can remember all the stretches you're doing, but please remember to do smooth, fluid motions. Do not do bouncing or jerking type of motions. For example, if you're going to stretch your shoulder, what you would want to do is do smooth motions, okay? You see some people, they're trying to stretch their trunk and they do really jerky type of motions. You're not stretching your muscles, you're ripping your muscles. What you're just trying to do is just smoothly stretch them out, okay? Now in strength training, some examples would be, of course, your universal weights, right? Everyone thinks of weightlifting and pumping iron, but if you don't have to belong to a gym. In fact, most people in the world don't even belong to a gym. They've never even seen one. So what you could do at home would be like push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. Just go to the sports store and buy a $20 or $30 pull-up bar, chin-up bar, and you're set. You've got push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. Also, heavy gardening is considered moderate exercise, strength training. If any of you thought that gardening was for pansies, you should try it. It's very hard work and it can get you aerobic and strength training. Now, the next remedy is water. Now, the symptoms of dehydration are fatigue, weakness, constipation, thirst, dry mouth, dark-colored urine, and headache, among others. In fact, the number one cause of fatigue is actually not tiredness or lack of food, but it's actually dehydration. WHO? Any healthy person over 10 years old, anyone under 10 years old, please seek the counsel of a pediatrician. What should you drink in water? Preferably some kind of filtered water, either filtered, distilled, reverse osmosis. There are pros and cons to each. We don't have time to go into that today, but choose some kind of cleaned water rather than tap water and drink that. How much should you drink? A ½ ounce per pound per day. So for example, if you're about 120 pounds, you would need about 4 of these bottles of water, which each bottle is 2 cups. So you would need about 8 cups a day. If you're 240 pounds, you would need double that, which is 1 gallon a day. There are some adjustments to that, and I will go over that in the Q&A session. Okay? When should you drink? Between meals. Try not to drink during a meal, and the reason for that is because your stomach has just put in acid trying to break down the food that you've eaten. If you dump in water to that, you've just diluted your acid. Think about when you're cleaning your kitchen or bathroom with one of these concentrated cleaners. It tells you to put a certain amount of water dilution to it, right? Maybe 10 to 1 or 5 to 1. So here you're cleaning your kitchen and you've got it to the right concentration and someone comes and dumps a gallon of water on it. The water is now diluted. You have to stop everything you're doing and get the concentrate again and get it back up to the strength that you need. Just like that, your stomach has to stop its indigestion, and then get more acid pumped in there to get the pH down to where it needs to continue digesting your food. Don't make your stomach waste time and cause more indigestion and acid reflux. Try to minimize your drinking. You can drink a little bit, but try not to drink cups and cups of water with each meal. I recommend stopping drinking water 30 minutes before your meal, eat your meal, and then starting 2 hours after you finished your meal, you can start up your water again. So a good system would be, for example, let's say you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I would encourage you to drink a glass of water immediately. Why? Because you're dehydrated from the night before. You haven't drank all night. That's why your urine is dark colored in the morning. So you get water in there immediately, and then 30 minutes to an hour later, eat a good breakfast. 2 hours after that, which would probably be around 9 o'clock, you start your water. And every hour on the hour, for example, for a 120-pound person, you would drink a cup at 9, 10, and 11. You've already got 4 cups of water in for the day, and it's not even noontime. That's half of your, if you're a 120-pound person, that's half of your daily allotment. At noon, you're going to eat your lunch, and starting at 2 o'clock, you start up your water again. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then you go home. You've drank your 8 cups of water, which is how much you needed for a 120-pound person. Eat your supper, and then just go to bed. Some people want water at around 8 or 9 in the evening. That's okay. You could do that. You might have to get up in the night to use the restroom, but if that doesn't bother you, it's totally fine. During exercise, you'll want to make sure you prehydrate and rehydrate. You can go through a lot of water while exercising if you are sweating quite a bit. So remember to prehydrate, get water in, and also rehydrate often. I would say probably every 15 to 30 minutes you would need to take in water while exercising. Now, where should you drink? Anywhere and everywhere. Remember to always take your water bottle with you. And you're in good company. Even the movie stars do it nowadays, right? One additional point about where to drink, make sure you drink near a restroom. Because the amount of water you'll be drinking, you'll be using the restroom about every hour. And what you're doing is you're urinating out the previous hour's water that you drank and then reloading. God made our bodies with a litmus test so that when you're urinating, try to pay attention to the color of your urine. If it's getting dark, that should tell you you're dehydrated. If it's running light yellow, that's perfect. How should you drink? I recommend lukewarm water because it's quickly absorbed into the body, especially in the morning. You can drink cold or hot water, but if it's too cold, your stomach has to warm it up before it can absorb it. You see, your body is finely tuned on temperature and pH. So if you're hot on a hot day and you're sweaty, it's okay because you do need to cool down. But if it's just a normal day and you're not really hot, if you drink lukewarm water, I guarantee you're going to feel it getting into your system much quicker than if you drank a cup of cold ice water. So try to get used to drinking lukewarm water. Now, some people tell me that they don't like the taste of water. Now, that's a very odd thing when most of the world, that's all they drink is water. They don't have money for Coke and coffee and things like that. But if you do need, you can add natural flavoring. Some examples would be like cucumber water. The Mediterranean Greeks drink that. It's very refreshing, and my teenage child really likes that. There's also the universal lemon water, right, that they serve in the restaurants that adds a little tartness to it. You can even put a slice of orange in a quart of water and put it in the refrigerator, and it'll give you an orange flavor. You can use all types of herbal teas that don't have caffeine. Now, remember to avoid the artificial flavoring. For example, like those powders that you add into water to make it sweet, very bad. In fact, if it says 0 calories, that is not classified as water anymore. I classify that as a diet product, right? 0 calories, tastes sweet, that's a diet product. Those have been shown to be a big factor in weight gain. In fact, if you drink diet drinks, you will gain more weight than if you drank the regular counterpart. So Crystal Light will make you fatter than if you drank lemonade. Diet Coke will make you fatter than if you drank Coke. So I recommend avoid the diet products, just drink the regular. We don't have time to go into why it does that in your body. It's a complex system of checks and balances, but trust me, all the studies show that diet products cause more weight gain than their other counterparts. Now, how should you use water? Both inside and out. We're going to drink water, but remember to bathe. The skin is an excretory gland. It's an organ. It's the largest organ in your body, and you can bathe it on a daily basis. If you have dry skin, you don't have to use soap all the time, for example, on your legs and arms. There's just to use them in those areas that do need soap. The rest of it, you can just rinse off with water and you'd be fine. Sunshine is the next one. And vitamin D deficiency, you hear it in the news all the time now. And it seems like almost every week the doctors and scientists are finding out another thing vitamin D does and that deficiency causes problems in our health. Common ones are osteoporosis, depression, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, and muscle and bone pain, and tooth loss or gum health. In fact, they've shown that if for the same amount of pain, if you're low on vitamin D, you will sense the pain more than if your vitamin D level was normal. Now, what are the benefits of sunshine? Good mood, good sleep, lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, improves the digestion, improves the immune system, stimulates insulin production, and increases cancer survival. With all these benefits of sunshine and the dangers of low vitamin D, we should try to get sunshine, but in an intelligent way. Now, they are coming out with reports that actually over the past few decades, when doctors have been recommending avoiding the sun and using sunblock everywhere, they found that we may have actually increased the cancer risk over the past few decades. They're attributing quite a proportion of the cancer increase that we've seen recently to the lack of vitamin D in our environment. Now, who should be getting sunshine? Anybody. This includes even babies and children. Okay? What do we need? We need sun exposure. Now, listen carefully. When should we get sun? Contrary to what we've been telling people all along, you need it between 11 and 3, the peak sun times, during the months of March to October. For someone with pale skin, for example, like a Northern European, they would need about 10 minutes in the sun during those peak times, and they would derive 10,000 units of vitamin D. That's like taking 10 of those 1,000 unit pills. For a more tan person like myself, they would need about 20 minutes to derive 10,000 units. And then if your skin is even darker, for example, Asiatic Indian, and Caribbean and African, you would need 30 or more minutes to derive 10,000 units of vitamin D. Where? Outside in the privacy of your backyard. And how? In your bathing suit. So basically be sunny side up for 5 minutes and sunny side down for 5 minutes, and you would get your 10,000 units. For the rest of the year, after October and before March, you may want to take a vitamin D pill for the rest of the year. You can easily go to the doctor and check it in the fall and see what your level is, and then in the spring and see if you even need it. You may not need it. It's just a simple blood test. But one word of warning, before you go out there and start sunbathing and sun worshiping, I'm going to warn you, do not go out there unless your diet, which is your foods, and your drinks are all good. Or else what is going to happen is you are going to fry your skin and you'll bump up your rate of skin cancer. Why is that? Because your skin has blood in it. And if you're eating a high-fat diet with not much water and you're drinking caffeine, you are dehydrated and you have grease in your blood, and that blood has grease in it and it's in the skin, and you are frying your skin with sunshine, basically like frying an egg on heat. So get your diet good and get your hydration up, and then you can be out in the sun in a safe way. This concludes part 1 of Total New Start. Please be sure to tune in for part 2, where we'll do the other half and also do Q&A. And visit our website, www.health-hope.org. That's www.health-hope.org. Thank you, and good health.
Are you one of those who just can't seem to face food when you crawl out of bed in the morning? Maybe a quick cup of coffee or tea, a donut, or maybe a sweet roll is your standard daily breakfast. In fact, statistics show that an increasing number of children arrive at school having eaten nothing at all. Astounding, isn't it? Why is it that most people skip breakfast? The most common reasons are they don't have time. They're not hungry in the morning. They want to lose weight. They don't realize its importance. But eating breakfast simply makes good sense. Who would ever start out on a trip without any gas in their car? So why should you start your day without the necessary energy supply? A group of scientists spent 10 years studying the effects of eating breakfast. A good breakfast, they concluded, can help both children and adults this way. They're less irritable, they're more efficient, they're more energetic, and they have better test scores. How? breakfast provides a steady source of fuel to the brain, which greatly improves mental function and attention span. Studies have also even linked healthy breakfasts with less chronic disease, increased longevity, better overall health. Unfortunately, many people attempt to compensate for that mid-morning drop in energy by drinking coffee, tea, or a caffeinated soda, along with something maybe sweet, a donut, a sweet roll, or other high-calorie snack. So, what is a healthy breakfast? A good breakfast will provide at least 1/3 of the day's calories. It's high in fiber and it's rich in vitamins and minerals. You may have heard the wise saying, eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and supper like a pauper. It's good advice. Try starting your day with a whole grain cereal, whole grain bread, and a couple pieces of fresh fruit, and you'll find that your energy level stays high all morning. Cereals, bread, and fruit are your energy foods. Carbohydrates, which are easily converted into glucose, the fuel of your body. If you are eating low fiber and high sugar foods, they quickly pass into the bloodstream, giving you the high-low effect in energy level. A high fiber diet prevents too rapid absorption, ensuring a steady release of nutrients into the bloodstream. Fiber also absorbs water as it moves through the stomach and intestines, preventing constipation. And remember that fiber also plays a crucial role in weight control, heart disease, diabetes, and prevention of cancer. If you are one of those who says you don't have time to eat breakfast, try eating less at night for your evening meal and go to bed early so you can wake up refreshed with time to spare. Begin your day by drinking a glass or 2 of water and get outside in the fresh air for some active exercise, like a brisk walk. You'll come back after a shower ready for hearty King's breakfast. What more can you ask for? Thanks for listening. This has been a Health Moment.